You think the grass is going to be greener on the other side. And then you go back to something that you dated when you were younger and you kind of realize, again, like you said, that person's mindset didn't necessarily grow over time. Things happen in your life that make you change a little. Things happen in that person's life that makes them change a little more. This time frame has passed, and now the things that have occurred during that time frame have changed the two of you in a certain way. And now you go back into the situation and you guys don't connect as much as you think. Okay, that situation could have worked out, but because of the time that has passed, you guys are not the same, and you think it's going to work out, but it doesn't necessarily happen that way. Now I'm a person that doesn't care for toxicity. I used to be a person that loved it because it was fun. I was young. I didn't have a bigger plan for my future, but now that I'm back with you, the toxicity won't work for me. So therefore, this relationship can't work.
This was one of the things Alan told me, which I thought was like so great, and I've been running with it ever since, right? And this is my take on my analogy on dating an ex, right? So there's an old story where there was a woman who wanted a pig. Okay, this woman wanted a pig, and she was a very rich, wealthy woman. Mm-hmm. She got the pig, she got the baby pig, and she dressed it up in all designer. She put diamonds on it, diamond necklace, everything. She made the pig everything that she wanted, right? And then as she, had the pig, one day it started to rain, right? And she got caught in the rain. Mm-hmm. And the pig almost broke her arm to jump out of her arms so it could run in mud. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, the pig is still going to be a pig. It does not matter what you want it to be. Mm-hmm. It does not matter what you want to dress it up as. The same goes and the same rules applies as people. That person is what they are, and it's important to accept what they are, which is most likely, not all the time, but it's most likely the case that they are an ex and not a current.
It seems like, oh, people are who they are. Like the pig is who they are. Accept the pig or don't accept the pig. How about we blame the woman for being foolish enough to believe that she could
pig could wear Gucci?
No, that's what I'm blaming.
Okay.
Not just the woman, but that woman in an analogy.
Yes.
I'm blaming the person to not understand that you can't make anybody be what you want them to be. Right. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how much power you have. I don't care how much popularity you have. You can't make somebody be what you want them to be. You could date a girl, you could be a guy, you could date this girl because she's beautiful, but guess what? She's not a wife. And you can't make her be a wife. You're a woman, you're dating this guy, right? And he's just an asshole. And you want a gentleman. He can't be a gentleman. And you gotta understand that instead of trying to mold and change people and give people every reason to change, you just gotta give yourself every reason to move on. If I had to take a poll, right, and this is just an educated guess stat, I would say 80% of people who left their ex and doubled back to their ex is because they thought that they can qualify for something bigger or better, and they don't. And so they realized that what they thought their market value was and what they thought they could obtain, they can't. So now they're trying to go back to where they technically belong. But like you said before, that doesn't mean that person is going to accept you back, especially if your ex has now climbed the charts and now they're above where you met them and you're still at the same spot where you left them. I think it's important if you're gonna leave somebody, you need to make sure that you understand that you're going to come back. If you ever decide to revisit, you have to be a better version of you. You have to be a more established version of yourself. You have to be a more, equipped, whether it be assets and or wisdom, knowledge, whatever it may be. You have to have more attributes than you actually left with when you try to double back. If you try to double back and even if you're making more money but you're still the same person, you're still the same person. You know what I'm saying? So those are just my tips.
Unless money was the issue, which for the case of marriage and divorce, they say that that's the number one reason why people separate.
I want to go back and I want to tie both of your points together when you were referring to, men being able to step out of their relationship because he is the sole provider or whatever the case may be. Historically, that was the norm, right? And I want to tie that into what's happening right now in terms of doubling back, right? Some people double back after the infidelity has happened in the original relationship. You know why? Because it takes an actual, conscious, aware person to understand that being unfaithful does not mean you're being disloyal. If I'm still doing everything that I was doing for you, okay? If I come home and I make you happy, if I take care of home, I take care of kids, I do everything, I'm the workhorse, but you caught me stepping outside, that doesn't mean I was disloyal. That means I was unfaithful.
I agree.
I still never stopped doing the things that I promised to provide for us. And I still never stopped making you unhappy. Granted, if you are doing, stepping out because there is an unhappiness, that's way different.
I'm gonna just go on a tangent a little bit. Sorry.
I love it.
But
thought-provoking.
Now, when you're with a woman, right? She's doing a lot of things to bring. When you're with a woman that you love, obviously she's bringing a lot of things to the table that you obviously need and desire. So if she steps out on you, you once said that you won't take that woman back. Why?
That's not what I've ever said. Actually, in fact, I love correcting people. In fact, the way I actually got my job at 8 at the table, the way I got my job at 8 at the table was saying that if I was doing it, especially if I was doing it as well, I got to charge it to the game. And I realized that life, first of all, I stepped out in other relationships. So if I'm in a good relationship, and most men are probably going to deny it, but I realize that most men are just going to deny it to themselves. Mm-hmm. If you're in a good relationship with a woman and she steps out on you and she was still doing everything that she needed to do, granted, it depends on how she steps out. If she built the relationship, that's one thing. Mm-hmm. We're talking about like maybe a girl's trip. She fuck around and fuck Drake. I'm going to be mad.
I think I did. I do remember you saying, okay.
I'm going to be like, yo, I got to charge it to the game. You know what I'm saying? That's just what happens. Bitch. You know what I'm saying? But if you go out and you go get a Pico and not a Rico, then we have an issue. Like, you're not gonna go below this. Nah, I know you're just desperate. Okay. But that was just to clarify.
But back to your point though, about the loyalty, disloyalty, unfaithfulness. So that is so key. When I work with my clients, I ask them, what do you want? Like the notebook, like, what do you want? Yeah. And many times people use this term of, I want someone who's loyal. And that's not the word that they actually, I'm like, let's Google it. Like, are we sure that the words that you are using and the attributes that you're looking for is actually descriptive of what you want? And that's exactly it. Like, I want someone who's faithful. Mm-hmm. Okay, so then that's a different animal. So I agree with you 100% in that regard. Back to your comment, though, of how many times are we going to accept the unfaithfulness? Like, what are the circumstances? Like you said, the Drake versus the Pico. Like, what are the circumstances that are, I don't want to use that word, but
it is what it is,
like, acceptable? And then also in your case, you said charge it to the game if you were doing dirt, if you weren't doing the dirt.
No, I'm talking about even previously.
Yeah,
I've already did my, listen, karma is coming. I don't know how she's coming, but if it coming, like, well, I guess this is what I deserve. This is what happens.
Right. So you just want to just deal with it.
I know what I was, listen, I know everything that I did in my life. It wasn't the most reasonable, right? But, you see the foot tap?
I do think that disloyalty and unfaithfulness can go hand in hand, though. Yeah. Because you're unfaithful, but still be loyal to me. Like, I understand what Rico was saying, like, he's still doing all of these things, but what are you telling this side bitch? Like, what are you telling this girl that you're cheating? Are you saying, like, my wife at home is a piece of shit, like, oh, she's so annoying, blah, blah, blah? You're disloyal.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But if you be like, I'm fucking you, but I love my wife. Like, I'm not leaving her. This is not like we're not going to be in a relationship. Like, I love her. I'm going back. I can't. How you talk about
that's me right there.
How you talk about me behind my back is you being loyal to me. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that goes. And
they love it. They love it. Women love that. It's sickening.
Ew.
Women love. If you tell a girl,
no way,
yo, listen, we about to mess
I'll be loyal.
If we about to mess around, but I'm telling you right now, I love my girl. Do not fuck my shit up. Some women would be like, wow.
Don't even talk
I
about
want that.
Yes.
I want that too. Like, no matter what.
Right now, but don't be talking shit about my girl.
No, yeah. What? I will fight you. Like, we can fuck. You better not talk shit about my wife. Like, but women love that because at the end of the day, this is what I believe. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I could be in my own space.
And that's what we have to marry, guys. That's what we have. That's what, like, somebody that's going to tell me, like, I'm going to cheat on you, but I had your back.
No,
like,
I'm not saying this is what we should want, but I'm just trying to
it's the reality.
Let them know how
I'd rather be alone.
Loyalty.
You know how many?
I would rather be alone.
You wouldn't rather be alone. You'd rather be lied to. See, that's the thing. There's so much infidelity. And, for a long time, even here at 8 at the table, I fought to not say normalize infidelity, normalizing the act of cheating. Mm-hmm. But guess what? It is more normal than it is unnormal. And we need to start to embrace it. And there's some people who need to actually be like, yo, you know what? Cheating on me isn't a full deal breaker, depending on how many times it happens.
Okay, fine.
No, but if you that and I got cursed, don't let me find out.
Okay, fine.
You said that what?
Literally, it was reposted today where I said that. I said that on a podcast before, that I said, I am married, right? I am legally married to my husband. And if he cheated on me one time, and again, depending on the circumstances, that I might not necessarily divorce him. And the thing is that most women, and I would even say people, would say the same thing, but they don't want want to say it aloud because it's awkward or it's embarrassing. A lot of folks, I'm not doing 50-50 with a man because then that means we're roommates. And most of those bitches is doing 50-50. They just don't want to say it aloud because the expectation is that as a woman, these are the standards you should have. And people are lying, and they're lying because of social media. They're lying because of pressures. They're lying because of society. 9 times out of 10, folks are forgiving their wives, even though men will not admit it. And they are forgiving their husbands, even though they don't want to admit it. They are.
Is it that relationships get like boring maybe, or there's not enough sex in the relationship? Like, what is it that makes people decide, all right, you know, like, because in that case, why even be in a relationship if that part is just not fulfilling?
I think that there's something that's lacking in the relationship, and I would even venture out to say that it's not even necessarily the quality of sex or the quantity of sex with their actual partner. It's not even that. I think sometimes people don't feel seen. They don't feel appreciated. It's the attention that this new person offers. A lot of times, especially if you speak to women, they don't even intend on the sexual act. They don't even intend, like, they don't even care about actually having sex with this outside person. It's the phone calls. It's the text messages. It's the compliments. It's the gifts. It's the dates that are more attractive. And then by default, eventually, like, well, I might as well have sex because that's the direction we're going in. But it's not even about the sexual act many times.
So there's been possible times that you considered doubling back to an ex. What was the one thing that was pulling you back personally into that old relationship?
Just the vibe.
Loneliness.
Damn.
Just the vibe.
I'm just.
Oh, the loneliness.
It was, my heart wasn't aching to go back.
I don't get lonely.
Like, I didn't like miss him that bad, but I was just like, all right, I'm real bored. He not even texting me no more. Like, all right, I'm gonna text him. Let's see what's up.
A lot of
Let me see
times
if he
our
missed me.
partners be our best friends. Like, we talk every single day, multiple times a day. Like, you miss your best friend. So it's not even an issue of that person being the shit, but it's like, damn, like, I didn't get a text this morning and no one asked me if I ate today. That's what you miss. It's like you miss relationship shit, not necessarily that person. Like, anyone could have been in that slot, but now I don't have nobody who's going to talk to me while I drive home. I don't have anybody to complain about my job to. Like, just missing that engagement.
Everybody needs a friend. I think more that's what it is. Everybody needs a friend. Everybody needs someone to vent to, someone to talk to, someone to, you know, complain to, whatever. And I think that's when you have somebody that's there all day. You guys can, you know, you can complain about everything.
So you ladies never wanted to go back to an ex.
But see, I think I was more busy because I don't even remember like feeling lonely. Like, oh, I want to just talk to somebody because I'm lonely. I'm just like, I can't even really remember ever being like, oh, I'm so lonely, I hate it here. I don't know, like, So my question is, that I just personally can't really.
None of you ever was like, hey, maybe I might want to consider giving my ex a second chance or a second stab at it because they were a good person? Like,
I mean, good person doesn't mean good relationship.
Well, they were a good person and maybe you did have a good relationship. I'm just trying to figure out, you know, did you have a good relationship that, you know, met some type of obstacles that, you know, led you to split up, and then maybe you know, like, thought about, like, you should give another stab at it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I told you there's one situation, yeah, but I just...
Because you said the vibe, but what is the vibe? Like, what was the vibe that made you say, hey, I should give this another chance?
We had a good mindset together. We both had the same, like, goals, and we felt like we, you know, together we were just, like, we complimented each other. Even when we would go outside, we would always get compliments, like, oh my God, you guys look great together, you know, like, that shit feels good. You know, you're with someone, you work out together, you have the same goals, you want to go certain places like together, you know, you have a similar mindset, and in a way that makes you be like, yo, I miss that. I miss being with someone that gets me.
Let's start with the ladies, okay?
We're starting with who?
The ladies.
Wow.
In terms of delusionality. I just made that word up. It sounds good. Okay?
Delusionality.
It sounds good, right?
Can we get it like a written out right there?
Delusionality. All right, man.
It's not reality.
You gotta put now.
One of the biggest issues, salary. The expectation that their man or the gentleman that they're dating should be making this six figure number, okay? Now, we're in the tri-state area, so I understand the desire to want to be with someone who's making six figures because you kind of just need that in order to function, right? But this expectation that that's what someone should be earning in order for them to be worthy of you is impractical, and I'm going to tell you why. That they could lose their job in any given moment. So if you're giving someone a chance based on how much money that they make, and tomorrow they are unemployed and homeless or whatever it is, then you're now stuck with the dude who's unemployed or homeless because you only messed with him because of how much money he made. Secondly, it's not about how much money you make, it's how you manage it. Somebody could be the top cardiologist at a hospital making $400,000 and they own 10 cars and they have 4 houses that they're underwater and they're paying child support and alimony and they're broke every week. So looking at a specific figure as a measure of whether or not you should date someone is problematic, and it's not going to work. So that's one of the biggest issues that I see with the ladies. Secondly, with the ladies, height. In what world does someone's height dictate how well they're going to treat you or how good of a husband or father they're going to be? There's nothing about that man's height that's going to make him a better human being. So, and again, I'm not saying that you should be dating folks who are necessarily like super shorter than you, but you're 5'2" and he has to be 6 feet. Why?
Yeah,
Why? It's unreasonable. Even in your tallest heels, he's still going to be taller than you. And I understand generally the idea is the taller the man, the bigger the man, the more likely he is to protect you. It's more animalistic than it is like reality, but still impractical. The gentleman. There's this desire to have a woman who has this very particular physique, especially for black women, right? Usually bigger titties, smaller waist, flat stomach. However, usually the women who look like that are going to have higher expectations than what that man can afford. And it's not nice to say, but if she's getting tons of attention and she's this really beautiful woman with this amazing physique, then that means that usually she's going to date the kinds of guys who do have the 6 figures, who are taller, right? Who are more seemingly attractive. You probably can't afford the lifestyle that she's going to ask for. So it's unrealistic to have this, I want a woman that has this body, or I want a woman who looks like this, and we're not looking at her personality, we're not looking at her behavior, we're not looking at her traits, and then you're surprised when she's an airhead, or you're surprised when she's a bitch. Well, that's what you wanted, that's what you got.